Obrazovanje je važno. Ovo univerzalno pravilo na širenje vidika pruža nam priliku za bolju budućnost. To je naš pasoš za bolji život. Ali škole i obrazovne institucije širom svijeta našle su se na prekretnici. Tradicionalni sistemi gube svoju prvobitnu namjenu. Preispituju se osnovna svrha i organizacija školstva. Otkrivaju se vještine i znanja neophodni za 21. vijek. Svijetom se širi novi talas revolucije u obrazovanju. Nastavnici s naprednim idejama iz korijena mijenjaju načine učenja, osporavaju zastarjele metode i suprotstavljaju se postojećem sistemu. Stvaraju prilike koje će promijeniti živote pojedinaca i cijelih zajednica.
Let me take for 100, please.
100.
I started the African Prisons Project in my second year at university. I visited prisons all around Africa. I soon saw huge overcrowding. The majority of prisoners were awaiting trial. Very few prisoners would ever meet a lawyer. The prison services didn't always have resources to invest in prisoners' healthcare and rehabilitation, and the prison staff often felt overworked and overwhelmed. But I also saw that these were prisons filled with people with gifts and talents which were waiting to be realized.
This is the Naivasha Maximum Security Prison. We have a big population of inmates. Today we have 2,960. We ensure that these guys are put in various programs within Naivasha. And the biggest program, as far as we are concerned, is the education program. We have students, adults who never went to school before they were imprisoned. This gentleman is called Bonibencha. He is an inmate. He has been in prison for the last almost 25 years now. And he is the principal of this school. And we decided to put him and to have him in civilian uniform, in civilian clothes, so that he looks like any other principal out there. And he has done a good job for quite a number of years. Probably you can have a look at their library. So these are guys who are their teachers, and they are also preparing for lessons.
Very often it's the poorest and least educated who find themselves in prison. Often their lives have been incredibly difficult and they've not had opportunities, and their inherent potential and gifts and talents haven't been realized during their childhood or their adult life before entering prison.
Good morning. How are you? Yeah, form first. So these are the candidates. How is it going?
Doing well.
Doing well?
When prisoners are convicted, most of them are those who never had the opportunity to attend formal schools out there. So when they come here, they are absorbed in the school program. Most of them appreciate the value of learning.
They can store a lot of data, a lot of information.
I came to Naivasha on a sexual assault case. I was convicted for 10 years. The general literacy level in Naivasha prison, a majority of people are illiterate.
They are now able to write, to communicate in English, also to write letters.
We are really keen. We want to get to benefit as much as possible from this program, so that when they leave this place, they are useful to the community.
Now let's go through all of them, so that we can now try to substitute the answer.
Majority of the teachers are actually fellow inmates, and you can see they are really attentive to them. There is a lot of discipline around, a lot of respect to the teachers.
Let's go to choice number 2, number B, to give prayer the seriousness it deserves. Don't you think that has a point? Because if you give prayers seriousness,
In countries like Kenya, 80% or more of prisoners won't meet a lawyer. I think the prison services struggle with the fact that often they're responsible for people who might not really need to be in prison.
when this is done,
if you ask me what is my greatest enemy today, I'll tell you it is ignorance of law. Because I know injustice in the country is the one that is causing a lot of violence in the world. And those who are very vulnerable are those who are ignorant of their legal rights.
Many of the prisoners have actually ended up in prison because they didn't even know how to go about their cases. And of course, basically poverty. So in community prison, we have partnered with the African Prison Project. And we have started a degree class or a law school sponsored from London School of Law.
I appreciate all of you who are accepted to grab this opportunity that came your way. I think it is the best decision you can make while in prison.
I was arrested way back in 2004. I was sentenced to death in 2013.
Write about what you learned from the episode.
Studying in prison is really difficult. The death row residence is where we stay. It's so noisy, it's overcrowded. You fold yourself almost thrice so as to get a space to read. And reading, especially at night, is quite tiresome and it's quite challenging.
Let someone share with us what he learned.
I was convicted in 1999. This is my 19th year. I was arrested while I was very young. My first year in college, I basically did not know life, and I wanted to proceed with education. But unfortunately, that came to an end, abrupt end.
When I was convicted, it was so hard for me to actually really accept myself, accept the situation that I was in. It was a bitter lemon for me to swallow. I've come from a challenged family background, and advancing in education was a big milestone. Maybe in prison, you can say that that has been the best thing that has ever happened to me.
We knew of the problem of legal representation in court because most of us are poor Most of us are illiterate. They don't know even how to read their proceedings. So there was a challenge for them to go to court and maybe argue their cases properly.
Yeah, she screams a lot during the day. At night she sleeps well. She's good to see you. How are you?
A moot court gives the picture of what is expected of you in court, the confidence, the persuasiveness, and of course, how to convince that judge to give you that element of freedom that you have been needing in your life for so long. You can't imagine how it feels when a judge tells you, you may go home, or you shall go home for that matter.
This is going to be supported in my submissions by the fact that there is somebody else, some other evidence came up, which pointed out the two suspects again as being among the assailants.
For me, it's very exciting to think that someone who's on death row himself at the moment can have that confidence and courage to go before one of Kenya's most senior courts in front of very senior judges and to advocate on his behalf and behalf of the many others who are on death row. I think that there's a sense of energy and enthusiasm that we find in these moot courts, which is exciting and gives us a sense that these are going to be game changers who, whilst they're in prison and when they get out, are using the law in radical ways to transform the lives of the poorest in society.
Murder, which was done in the course of that robbery by road.
Did the accused have a lawyer or friend with him?
Counsels have already submitted on the mandatory death sentence under Section 296(2) of the Criminal Procedure Code.
Counsel, I'm curious as to whether you think there is a difference between the persuasiveness of a 5-judge bench decision and a 3-judge bench decision.
The court should decide the way it deems fit, but being the family being from the Christian family, and they believe in the restorative justice, we would wish to submit that you look into the issue of the third accused who came up to give the truth of what happened that day and give out proper sentence.
Section 135 of the same Criminal Procedure Code says that any offenses, whether misdemeanor or felonies, may be charged together.
I was condemned and sentenced to death in 2002, and I came out of prison in January 22nd, 2016. I was alleged to have committed a crime of murder, which I did not do, but of course once you're rounded up and you don't have enough resources to facilitate you in court, you can become a victim of injustice. I refused to live like a criminal because I knew I was not a criminal. I refused the circumstances of prison to determine my future. I had left my 1-year-old child, and I just said if I have to see this child of mine once again, I had to fight to get my way out of prison. One day, Alexander McLean of the African Prison Project told me that, Susan, suppose you take up a law course. And I was like, no, I am a victim of injustice. I cannot go for that, and because I hated law altogether. And he told me it can start with you.
This library is open for our use.
African Prison Project brought me the opportunity of enrolling in the University of London external program on a diploma level. Right now, as I'm speaking, I have completed my law degree. Throughout my studies, through my court sessions, they have been there with me.
My name is Skoro. I'm currently serving a death sentence. I've spent 7 years in prison and I've done my first appeal. I'm waiting for my second appeal.
Ever since I went to prison, I was arrested in 2001 over the allegation of murder, and in 2003 is when I was sentenced to suffer death. I've been in prison for 15 years, and it is of recent that I was set free. A pronunciation of a death sentence upon somebody, you cannot remain the same, but I remained strong, and I knew that a day was coming when I would be set free. So I never lost hope in my life, and I think that's what has kept me strong. I took it as a golden opportunity for me to achieve what I had failed to achieve, even in the outside world.
And when I went to court, I advocated myself.
The officer in charge at Langata Women's Prison, Olivia, has spent 3 months with us in the UK last year as part of our fellowship programme for senior prison staff, spending time in British prisons and universities.
African Prison Project has been like a godsend to within the prison community here, because it does not only focus on our clients, that is our prisoners or pre-trial prisoners, it's also the community around the staff members and their children.
When you have one senior prison officer who's passionate about transforming the lives of prisoners, or clients as they're known here, who brings creativity and innovation and resourcefulness to their job, the world's their oyster.
This is very nice.
I joined prison in 2009. I was convicted for 10 years. By the time I was coming in, I was 5 months pregnant. I delivered in prison. I took care of my son in prison, and he left prison when he was 1 year, 2 months. While serving my sentence, I've been a student of law. Law has been really involving. It really needs time and dedication. It's been very, very tough.
This was not happening before in our facility. It's really a milestone for us, because now even the staff are getting these skills in terms of paralegal, and the clients are also able to be able to have self-esteem and all this confidence to go out there and stand before the court and defend themselves. Previously, there were very few staff members, but increasingly there are more staff members also who are joining the program.
One success just at the initial point of the program was when one of the trainees, an inmate, was able to do an appeal for their colleague, who eventually went back to court and was able to earn a release from. This encouraged more inmates to join, and currently they are doing good work.
I hope in future I will be able to help my fellow inmates go through their trials and appeals.
They've been putting up appeals for their friends. They're able to bring up issues that are not known by the administration, for us to be able to ensure justice prevails. prevails within the system. Those who can go home, go home.
Una cha kuongezea?
Nilikuwa nataka kuelezea tu mahakama ya kwamba mheshimiwa,
ulikuwa unasema uko tayari na maandishi yako? Ya, unaweza kutoa maandishi yako?
I wish to commend African Prisons project basically for enabling these prisoners first and foremost to gain an insight, a legal insight of their cases, so that when they come before me on appeal, they are very well prepared in terms of how they argue their appeals.
Na wale mama ndio walikuwa kama mashahidi wangu wanakuja kunitetea.
It deals directly with the prisoner. If you are able to enable this prisoner to be able to argue his case before a court, then to me that is the greatest achievement that we can ever have from such a program. APP basically humanizes prisoners.
Committed to utilize these facilities here and make them accessible to each and every client who will benefit in them. Not only our clients, but the children and also the staff members.
Very few prisons have the opportunities available that you have here. Please take advantage of them. When you go back to your children and your parents and your siblings, let them say, wow, this isn't the woman that we last knew.
We really are very thankful for the knowledge we have gained, because we can see the fruits of that knowledge. And it has really changed the life of so many others, our colleagues around here. Almost everybody here is called a wakili. Wakili is an advocate in Kiswahili. And once you pass through the compound around here, wakili, you are called. Everybody is calling you around, and you feel really people need you.
When I get released from prison, I hope to become a practicing lawyer so that I can be able to help those who are less fortunate to achieve justice.
APP has given me motivation to want to see tomorrow because I want to make an impact.
Law gave me an opportunity to prove that I can do something in this world. I am better than I was.
I feel I'm empowered and able to bring change in the society. Much more especially to impact to that very person who is in dire need the same way I was.
Within time, these same people who are being educated by APP are going there outside to change the world, to change the perception of the world, that people need a better chance.
It's my passion and my desire to give back to the community, not only in prison, but also in the community where I live and everywhere.
We've been standing at the same point, marching on the same point for a very long time as a country. But a time has come that we need to change this country, and the people who are going to change this country are the people who are sitting right here with me. So we are moving forward. What we've learned from APP, we want to use it to change this country, and we are going to do it. By the grace of God, we've started doing it. The journey is unstoppable, and we're moving.